Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? What's going on? Happy Monday, June 15th, this year of our Lord 2020. I think I'm finally starting to get the hang of this live stream setup stuff. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a productive Monday. I just got done with a few mile run. I think I ran like 5.5 miles, and I'm still a little sweaty. I apologize. But whoo, man. Makes a huge difference with your energy and your positivity and flushing out negativity when you go outside and you exercise. So if you guys are feeling like down or out a little bit, I suggest, now that a lot of things are open, go outside and exercise or just get out, get some air going on. I'm going to go ahead and tweet this out to everybody that we are live right now. Let me know if the volume's okay, everybody. If you're able to hear me, I got a new audio setup, and I haven't bought the headphones for it yet, so I cannot hear my audio. So let me know if it's working. I got this new mic setup too, which has cost me a little bit of money, but it's meant to make this live stream a little bit better. Butterbean versus Tyson. Grim Reaper, what up? Christopher J, what's going on? Yeah, imagine that. Tyson versus Butterbean. We're going to get into that, into a little bit of Ryan Garcia, a little bit of, I didn't bring the book. I read a really, really good book on Johnny Tapia the other day over the weekend. And Johnny Tapia was freaking crazy, bros. Guy was a crazy, wild man. All right, let's see here. Let's start the chat on this end right here. Yo, Rob C. Good evening, bro. Where are you tuning in from, Rob C? Thanks for being on here. Go ahead and share this with everybody on the tweets. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at FightUpTV, and on myself at Hey, it's Marcos V. I hope you guys had a good weekend as well. Man, so over the weekend, yesterday. Dude, all right, so New York, that's good, man. I had freaking 4 beers yesterday, okay, for the first time in like 3 months. And I was hungover as fuck the whole day today, which is terrible, man. These hangovers do not get easier the older you get. And I drank 4 beers, dude. How much of a lightweight am I to drink 4 beers and you get hungover a majority of the day today? It's freaking terrible, man. Trippy Chino, what's up, man? Welcome to the chat. I'm going to get sound effects for these live chats to go ahead and like make sounds when you guys go in and tune in. I'm going to answer your question right now. I'm just going to tweet out that we're live right now via our social media. Right here. Live. We are live. We are live now. Tune in and should say tune in and talk shit, huh? What up, Marcos Levy? We're going to get to that right now, man. But what up, Triple Chino and Marcos Levy? Where are you guys tuning in from? Join the convo right now. Right now. Boom. All right. Tweeted it out. Let me select everything. Copy. Boom. All right. Tweeted everything. All right. Now let's get to the questions. Let's see here. Jesse Vargas got $450,000 to fight Saddam Ali. And Ryan can get that. I think you're Panama. Man, I love Panama. Saludos de Panama. Hola, ¿qué tal? I love Panama. I was in Panama last year. I spent. It's weird. So Paramount Studio, Universal Studios, the movie studios, not the theme park, obviously, sent me out to Panama to go see Roberto Duran because they were making a documentary on Duran, and the movie was titled Yo Soy Duran. And I actually have the poster in my living room. It's actually a really good documentary. And they sent us out over there to kind of see where Duran grew up, go through the little city that he grew up in, what was called El Chorrillo. So we went there. We saw the gyms that he used to work out in Panama. And it was a really interesting experience because El Chorrillo, yeah, Marcos, you know what I'm talking about. It's not the nicest place. And we got stopped by police I want to say about, oh man, like 4 or 5 times within like 12 minutes. And all the police officers would ask our tour guides, hey, why are you taking these guys to this neighborhood? Like, avoid this street, go to the other way. And it was kind of funny because we had heard from our tour guide from Universal say, like, hey, it's kind of a rough area, but we're gonna have escorts for you, so you don't have to worry about anything when you go over there. But they took us over there. We got to chat with some of the locals in Panama, and there's a old guy that had a little guitar, and he started playing a song about Duran, which is really cool. Let me see if I have it on my phone. I believe I have it on my phone. But it was just a really, really cool experience. Panama is a beautiful country, man, and I can't say enough about it. I honestly want to go back because I had a lot of fun there, and they were very hospitable, and everybody was really, really nice. El Chorrillo was built by the Americans for the people who work of the canal. Well, there you go. Marcos Levy giving us a history lesson. Yeah, you know what I liked about El Chorrillo was there was a lot of Spanish-style buildings there. And obviously, because of what happened with the bombing and all that, there were some buildings that weren't built up. So it gave it kind of like a rustic old field. And what was told to us by our tour guides is they didn't rebuild some of those buildings to remind everybody or keep the memory of what happened when they went ahead. And I think the U.S. government, I believe so, bombed that area when, I saw the documentary, I read up on it, but I forgot what in particular was going on. Just my opinion. Yo, hey, yo. What's up, man? Where are you tuning in from? Well, I drink some of my Jesus juice. Okay, well, first thing off the topic is Ryan Garcia and Oscar De La Hoya beefing, bros. What the heck is going on, man? So I read a little bit into it, and I guess Ryan is not happy with the purse that he's making off his contract. They came for Noriega in 1989. There you go. Now I remember. That's right. Yeah, in that documentary, they interviewed Noriega. If you guys don't know already, I'm super ADD. I get distracted really, really easily. Okay. Ryan signed this deal with Golden Boy, a new deal where I think he was getting like $200,000 per fight. And they signed that pre-pandemic, pre-COVID-19, okay? Great deal for him. He was happy. They were kind of beefing, kind of negotiating. It seemed that he was courting other promoters. At the time, we had seen him go to a party where a lot of the Mayweather people were at, and there was a lot of rumors that Heyman was trying to sign Ryan. I know the lawyer that works with Ryan works with a lot of Heyman fighters, but he works with just a lot of fighters in general. He signs a deal, gets the fight where he knocks the guy out. I forget what was the name of the guy. And then he's lined up to fight Jorge Linares, and that fight was supposed to happen this summer, actually, before this pandemic started. Art Alexander 93, what up, man? What's going on? Thanks for jumping in. And if you guys have any questions while I'm like rambling off or going on off of a topic, you can just go ahead and put them in, super chat it, and I'll see it right away and I can answer it right away. But right now we're talking Art about this back and forth going with Ryan, and it's just kind of particular because you sign a contract, okay, which is a really, really good contract, and then you're voicing displeasure to the contract. And I'm just trying to think, okay, if you have a contract, you have to pay that fighter that purse. So I don't know why he wouldn't. Well, the only way that I would think he wouldn't be happy with the purse is if another fighter of a similar stature or status like him, and he's probably the hottest prospect fighter there is right now in boxing in terms of fan base and popularity. Someone had to have said, like, hey, you know what? You kind of underpriced yourself. These guys are getting paid a little bit more, and that maybe would cause him to voice displeasure with the purse amount that he's paying. Now, it doesn't help Oscar's case that he's tweeting and kind of, when I saw the tweet that like, hey, Ryan declined the fight. Now we're going to go forward with Virgil Ortiz, who's the future of boxing. That kind of caught me off guard because in one sense, when I first read it, I saw kind of like, oh, damn, he's kind of airing out the laundry there. That's kind of like a low-key diss on Oscar to Ryan Garcia with the whole, the future of boxing. Even though Ryan is the future, Virgil Ortiz is the future. But I don't know. It came off to me like, oh, okay, he's not happy. And they were already beefing prior to when they signed the contract, when he had his fight at the Honda Center in Anaheim. Ryan obviously answers back, hey, you're my promoter. You're not supposed to be hating. And I'm going to get the setup so I can finally show you guys these graphics, but it's going to be in the next few weeks. So, we'll see what happens with all that. It's all these promoters, because there's no live spectators, there's no gate, there's no merchandise really being sold. There's not a lot of money for them to be made. And the economics of boxing, as opposed to MMA, the MMA fighters, they make a lot less, obviously, than boxers. And because they make a lot less, they're able to stack their cards where it's like headliner, like champion after champion after champion, because their total payout is nothing close to, like, say, if a Canelo were to fight, you could only have Canelo and maybe one other sort of high-end guy, but Canelo's been pairing up with Ryan, which is a smart thing for them to do. But because of the economics of boxing, and the main eventers usually get paid so much, me as a promoter, if I were to put on a fight, okay, with fighter A, say I'm just going to use Canelo as an example. If I have Canelo and he's fighting Billy Joe Saunders, okay, Canelo signed that crazy 360 whatever million bazillion dollar deal. Per fight, he's making $30 million. That's a hefty price tag, plus the price of Billy Joe Saunders to take the fight. I'm just throwing a figure out there. I don't know what it is. Daniel Jacobs got like 10 million to fight Canelo, I think, or 8. So let's say that's around the same price for the opponent, 8 to 10 million. Okay, that's already 40 million that you got to pay the two main eventers, plus the whole card, plus the production. I don't know where the production budget comes from. Sometimes it comes from the promoter. Sometimes it comes from the broadcaster, DAZN. So with that being said, Golden Boy, where they make their money is through the live gate, through ticket sales, ticket prices, and merchandise sold, though a majority of that is tickets sold. Ringside ticket on average for a Canelo fight, a couple $1,000s. You're at an arena like the T-Mobile that fits about 20,000 people. It's a lot of money. The nosebleeds are like $500. So that starts adding up. That's one way where they recoup some of the funds, though. I don't think even with a mega event like that, they make back the money. The only way they make back the money back then, and I say back then a few years ago, was the gate plus the pay-per-view price. Even though half the revenue from the pay-per-view goes to the cable operators, and then the other half gets divided between the promoters and the fighter, but that still was a good enough chunk for them to make money off of. So with that being said, it's tough one to quantify, being able to pay a guy $30 million plus his opponent $40 million. And I'm just using Canelo and Saunders as an example, without having a live gate, and shoot, not to mention no pay-per-view, and then people canceling their DAZN subscriptions as well. So it's a hard sell. So you can see why a promoter would maybe say, hey, we can't pay this much, even though you sign a contract. You sign a damn contract. You agree to it. So, they do have a reason to say, hey, you know what? You signed this contract. You agreed to this deal. Now, if they want to renege, I don't know what the terms are in reneging the deal, but obviously with anything in life, you got to show your value. Obviously Ryan has value. He has the following, he brings the ratings, and from what I've seen in person, quite a few amount of people go and watch his fights. He's nowhere near the level of a Pacquiao or a Floyd yet, but he's getting there. So it's an interesting situation, man. He's 21, 22, and obviously, if he puts in the work, he improves his faults as a boxer with Canelo's trainer, he's going to go really far. Out of all the guys, honestly, out of all the prospects, Ryan has the most upside because he already has a huge built-in fan base already, and the kid's exciting. Obviously, there's Tank. Tank's always getting in trouble. Might not be too friendly for sponsors. Ryan's super friendly for sponsors. You got Devin. Devin is super friendly to sponsors. He hasn't done anything crazy. Another big upside. But Ryan's more popular than Devin at this point. I'm not saying he is going to be or if he's not going to be in the future. At this point, out of all the prospects, Ryan seems to be like the guy that could end up crossing over and becoming a huge superstar. So, like I mentioned last week, you can never blame a fighter for wanting more money because at the end of the day, they're the ones taking the punches and risking it all and leaving a piece of themselves inside of that ring. But these are weird times, man. Everybody's business is messed up right now because of what's going on. Almost every single sector of business is jacked up. Revenues are not what they were before. People aren't making money like they were before. A lot of people are on unemployment. So it's a weird time right now, man. It's a really, really weird time. But I think Golden Boy is the right promoter for Ryan at this point. But you never know. He might want to go the free agency route and see what free agency could bring him. Obviously, if he goes to the Heyman side, or if he were to go to the Heyman side, his purses would go up more. Obviously, the Heyman guys get paid a lot of money. Top Rank knows what they're doing in terms of promoting people. If I were advising a young fighter, and they were to ask me like, hey, who would not throw me to the lions, really invest in me, make sure that I'm brought up the right way with good, competent people, I said like, hey, Top Rank has a lot of experience. They're good overall. Golden Boy, if you're a Hispanic fighter, go over here. Heyman obviously knows what they're doing, but it's a little bit more difficult there because sometimes the younger guys get thrown to the lions, which I like personally as a viewer because we get to watch some badass fights sometimes, when they're throwing these, especially on FS1. For the longest time, these FS1 fights had a lot of freaking guys just getting thrown to the wolves, and it was good. But, that could be risky too as well. So let's go get to some of the questions. Just my 2 cents on the whole situation. I just found it really, really weird that Oscar put that tweet out. Like, I don't understand. I would think you would keep some of these matters of business private to kind of avoid any public back and forth, because the last time you want is an unhappy fighter. As a boss, you don't want an unhappy worker. And if you do have an unhappy worker, you don't want them airing out your dirty laundry over Twitter for everybody to know, like come to me and tell me, so it doesn't get fought out online over Twitter. All right, question time. Rex Righteous one, what up, man? PBC won't have many options for Ryan. I think they will, but just PBC, they have a lot of thing with PBC. Obviously, they have a majority of the marquee talent in the world, even though Top Rank has Top Rank has 3 of the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in Lomachenko, Crawford, and Inoue. Obviously, Canelo's with DAZN, Usyk, DAZN. Spence, you could throw in the top 5 too. Thing with PBC is they don't have enough dates between Fox and Showtime to keep these guys super active. That's the problem. A lot of their fighters don't fight a lot because of that. They only fight once a year. unless you're a top tier fighter like Errol Spence or Tank Davis, that you could be like, no, I want to fight 2-3 times a year, and they'll do it to you because they know you make them money. For the rest of the other guys, you just don't have enough dates for them to be super active. Marcos Levy, Furies with Top Rank 2. Yeah, Top Rank has a lot of the pound for pound guys, man. They've Top Rank knows what they're doing in some aspects. The fight last week that they had with Shakur in the main event, that was just a mismatch. I'm usually don't like to bash on cards, but that fight that opponent that they gave Shakur was not. He shouldn't have been in there in that fight with Shakur. I understand they had limited options. With everything that's going on with the pandemic, we might see a lot of those people not be in competitive fights. But it is what it is. We got boxing back. Hey, Marco, where are you from? I'm from Southern California, my man. Marvin Rollins Jr., what's up? Hey, do you think there will be a Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Jaron Ennis matchup in the future? I think certainly it's possible. Boots is looks like he has the goods. Super talented fighter. I like his style. Virgil's still up and coming. We could see that matchup, but Showtime, Golden Boy, man, it sucks, how the ones that suffer are us, the fans, with this whole promoter BS, which, they're with so-and-so promoter. We can't make that matchup. They need to get over it because, look, at the end of the day, promoters, if you're listening to me, okay, this is just me being real, all right? At the end of the day, you make money matching these guys up with the guys from the other promotions. You guys do realize that, right? That people want to see your fighter fight against another fighter from a different promotion. There's money to be made there. So by these fighters continually fighting so-so competition, so-so names, it's hurting them because then you start getting fans calling certain fighters cherry pickers, that they fight nothing but bums. You see on their social media, you fight nobody. You're fighting nobodies. There's money to be made there if you match them up with the other guys from the other street. You guys are missing out on money to be made. And if I know people, we all like freaking money, and I know promoters for sure love money. So I'm not sure. It's a lot of ego involved. That's what it is. And a lot of bickering. But the biggest thing is ego. Like, hey, you said this about me, like on the media and all that. Yes, there is some things. Okay, obviously the networks have influence. No, he's our guy. We want him on our network. And the other side's like, no, he's our marquee guy. We want them on our network. Look at what ESPN did with Wilder and Fury. That's a perfect example there. You share. One guy goes here first. Say I have Fury Wilder goes to ESPN. I'll be like, okay, all right, cool. We'll give you Fury Wilder. Crawford, Spence has to be on Fox. That's how we'll divvy it up, okay? And we'll do a rotation system like that. You get your match that you want. We get the match that we want. We're all making money, and the fans get the fights that they want. Simple fix right there. Do you think Mike Tyson hype was real, or was that just to promote AEW? It could be a little bit of both. Certainly, as you can see from his training clips, he's in shape. He's maybe on that Vitor TRT. He is working out because you see Rafael Cordero posting images of him working out. So I wouldn't put it past the realm of possibility that he does have a exhibition fight, because he's explained that he wants to have an exhibition fight on various interviews that he's done, and even on his podcast. Yeet, what up? Glad to check in with you, bro. We're talking about Mike Tyson, if this exhibition thing is real, or he's just doing it to hype up his pro wrestling debut. On the pro wrestling side, dude, you know what? I'm not as hyped as I was when I saw Tyson come out with Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, what was that, like 15 years ago? I don't know, for some reason, like the AEW stuff looks super freaking fake. And when he was on Raw with Stone Cold, I legit thought that there was some serious heat there between Stone Cold and Mike Tyson. They did a good job of making it seem like, hey, there might be a little bit of heat there. Like Steve Austin got a little too touchy there with Mike. This AEW stuff, I'm not doing a good job of selling me. It looks super scripted, man. It looks fake. Like I can't get into it. To be honest, it could be a little bit of both. It could be all that stuff bleeding into that, or it could be too AEW seeing like, hey, man, Mike Tyson's like trending like crazy on social media, on everything. Let's go ahead and try to capitalize on this momentum that Mike's having and incorporate him into a storyline that we have on AEW. All I know is that the bare knuckle thing was fake. It wasn't real. There was an offer put out to Mike, but the tweet that they had agreed to a fight for $20 million was fake. That wasn't real at all. Though I think he was offered a multi-million-dollar fight in bare knuckle, but I haven't heard anything about it. One Boxing King 1, dude. We talked about that like 5 minutes ago, bro. You just missed it, man. Brian FRM 860, what's up, man? Where are you tuning in from, bro? Have you ever fought a boxing match? No, just sparring. When I sparred back in the day, and I wrestled my whole life, so I have a lot of wrestling matches and a lot of MMA sparring and some boxing sparring. More MMA sparring. I used to spar a lot in MMA because I had my wrestling background. Boxing MMA 365. Let's see what's your take, bro. Where are you tuning in from? Yeah, Stone Cold and Mike Tyson. Imagine that now, dude. Stone Cold has said, he's gone on record, had wanted no work from Mike Tyson. That he was a little worried too when that happened, because Mike Tyson's kind of like a loose cannon, bro. He seems more pacified now, not as like I say, screw loose. He seems in a good place now. He doesn't seem so like riled up all of a sudden. Back then, like, you never knew with Mike, and I could speak to this because I interviewed Mike right before the Pacquiao Marquez 4 fight, or 3. I think Pacquiao Marquez 3. I interviewed Tyson at not a nightclub, a bar in Vegas, but it was a bar at the MGM, but it was like a nightclub type of bar. They had an open bar, and I was really stoked they had an open bar because they had Louis the 13th and Cristal at the bar, and I was like, oh my God, I get to taste Cristal. Like, hell yeah, all this like high, like premium liquor. And like, I had just finished interviewing Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. They were there too. And I'm there at the red carpet, and I don't know if I'm going to get Mike or not. And I forget who I'm talking to, but at the time I was working for the Boxing Channel. But the Boxing Channel was allowing me to use the Boxing Channel interviews and put them on Fight Hub, because they did a really, really terrible job of marketing and promoting the videos. So I'm there waiting, and Mike comes, and I couldn't believe it. And I remember I looked into his eyes, and he seemed fine. And then I asked him a question about the Pacquiao Marquez 3 fight. And he said, oh, it's a great fight, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I'm like, it's a cookie cutter like response. Like, I'm going to really get into it. And I'm like, Mike, how'd you score the fight? The last one was a draw. And Mike's eyes got tiny, and they got intense. And his energy started going up, 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 up. And he was getting animated, but it looked like he was getting angry. And I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God. Now I know why people were scared of Mike Tyson. I was scared as I was intimidated, man, because I didn't know what to expect from him. He's getting really, really angry. Dude's intimidating, dude. If I don't know if any of you guys have ever interacted with Mike Tyson or ever been in a situation where Mike Tyson gets aggravated or annoyed or irritated. It's a scary freaking thing, man. He was I wish I could put the link on here. Let me see if I could put the link on there for you guys. I'm going to try to find it and put the link so you guys can watch it. Because, yeah, at that moment, I realized, like, this is the reason why people were afraid of Mike Tyson. Now I know why when people walked into the ring against Mike Tyson, why they were already defeated, because they were so intimidated by him, because this guy, his presence is freaking scary, man. It's a really, really old interview that I did. It was about 5 years ago, or maybe even 6 years ago. Let me see. There it is. Mike Tyson rips boxing judges. Talks Pacquiao versus Marquez 4. It has 250,000 views. Piggybacking off all right, I'm going to drop the link here in the chat so you guys could see it a little bit later. But yeah, now I know why like so many people were afraid of Mike Tyson. So good thing if he comes back or not. I don't know, man. At the end of the day, he's still a 53-year-old man. And these young cats, you know, what we're seeing in those training videos, they're edited. Like, we haven't seen the full training sessions that he's done. Like, we don't know how his gas tank is. Like, we don't know how he is. You know, they're just showing us the stuff they want us to see. So, you know, maybe all Mike has in him is a round or 3 rounds. You know, put him in there with a guy like Tyson Fury, who's 6'7". Mike's like 5'10", 5'11". So, yeah, it's, man, at the end of the day, the guy's 53 years old. You know, what do you expect from a 53-year-old? You know, maybe, you know, he still has the punch. You never know. Crazier things have happened. Look at George Foreman. Look at Bernard Hopkins. But, man, it's a difficult thing for me to look past. The guy's 53, and his last fights, he didn't look good. Yes, the passion wasn't there in the last fights. But at the end of the day, man, you put a 53-year-old Mike Tyson against these young guys that have been boxing, have been active, have been conditioning, and you got to think, what's going to happen? You know, he's an old man now at this point. Do you think Wilder is intimidating? DJ 2020. Hell yes. Deontay Wilder is super intimidating. That's another guy. When I first started interviewing, I was a little scared to talk to, because like this, the switch flips, and like his eyes get all small, and because he's so goddamn tall, he dwarfs me, and he's like looking over me, you know, and I could smell his breath, and he's breathing on me and everything, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this guy's gonna freaking swallow me and eat me, man. Like, what the hell? So yeah, Wilder can get intimidating, dude. And during the Luis Ortiz fight, the first one in New York, I interviewed him, and I don't even know what I asked him. I know I asked him about Ortiz's hand, and I asked him another question, and he got really, really, serious, you know. And like, I stood there, and I'm like, God, man, these dudes are scary dudes. I would not want to meet him in a dark alley, but that's the other thing, you know. Wilder, in a way, people fear his punching power. That's what, yeah, Marvin, yeah, I'll get to that right now. But, you know, Wilder, in a way, had the same effect that Tyson did. You know, people were so worried about his punching power, so cautious when they were fighting him, that it played to Wilder. Wilder had all the confidence in the world. If you're fighting someone, say you're fighting someone in a street fight, okay? And you know the guy's afraid to get hit by you. That already gives you a domineering presence over the guy, where you think like, okay, this guy's scared of me. I could walk all over this guy. Like, I could impose myself on this guy. It makes you braver, and it gives you more confidence. So like, oh, I'm really going to step to this guy now, because this guy is afraid to get touched by me. So I could see why people were, you know, obviously, guy's one of the hardest punchers ever in boxing history. But Charlo's another guy that's super intimidating. Both Charlos, they're really intimidating. I did that interview where, yeah, I told him like, hey, bro, you kind of intimidate me, and I started laughing, and Charlo's like, well, you think this is funny? That's another funny one that I had. Mike Tyson versus Shannon Briggs. Yeah, they were talking about that for the bare knuckle thing, but we'll see what happens. Joshua or Fury, if they were to fight. Brian Firm 860. I favor Fury because of his mobility at this point, and I favor him because he seems at this point to have more tools in his tool bag. And I've always been a big fan of fast, mobile fighters. And I think if Tyson wanted to, he could box and just move around and easily win that fight against Joshua. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it does happen. Shark. Every Villegas knows Savat. I don't know Savat, bro. Okay. Tripi Chino. I heard Chino Madonna fighting this month, coming up with an MMA fighter or something like that. Yeah? That's the first I've heard. I know he's lost a lot of weight. He's been training a lot, and I know that he has expressed interest in a comeback, but I hadn't heard that anything was definitive yet for him. You know, BoxRec always has this stuff. Let's see what BoxRec has. Well, I adjust this mic here. Let's see. Marcos Maidana, BoxRec. Well, we'll see right now, bro. Let's see if he does have a scheduled fight, because it'll show up on his BoxRec because they have to register. Their promoter has to register when they have a fight. No, there's no fight there. Last fight, 2014 against Floyd Mayweather Jr. There's the last fight. It's been 6 years. That's crazy. Thoughts on Canelo versus Derevyanchenko? We talked about Ryan maybe about 20 minutes ago. A little late, bro. I might touch on it again. King Raul, let's talk boxing. We are talking boxing, bro. What's up, Raul? Canelo versus Derevyanchenko. All right, so Derevyanchenko is a guy that I think doesn't get enough credit. And technically, Derevyanchenko could be undefeated at this point. He had a really close fight with Daniel Jacobs. A lot of people felt that Derevyanchenko could have possibly gotten the decision against Daniel Jacobs. It's a really, really close fight. A lot of people think he won against Gennady Golovkin. He gave Golovkin a lot of problems. I was there at that fight. I thought Golovkin won. I had it 6-6, but with the knockdown, 1 point to Gennady, which is funny because that seems to have saved Golovkin in these really close fights is the knockdowns. Like with Jacobs, I had it 6-6, but with the point from the knockdown, I had Golovkin winning by a point against Jacobs, and I had Gennady winning by a point against Derevyanchenko. A lot of people don't think that Golovkin won against Derevyanchenko. So with that being said, Derevyanchenko is a tough fighter for anybody. He's active, he's rough, he has a very high work rate, and that's tough when you're going against a fighter that has a high work rate. That's like the Sean Porter effect. Sean Porter's fights are difficult to score as a judge, and they're extremely competitive and close because he's active. He's scoring, working. Look at someone like Joe Calzaghe. You know, Joe Calzaghe kind of broke the system. He had it worked out. He knew he could out-volume the guys, and because of that, he won and stayed undefeated because he just outworked them. Well, a judge looks at who's doing the better work, but it's hard to dismiss that the guy's been working every single second of those 3 minutes. So with that said, I know a lot of people have said that they're, come on, Derevyanchenko, another like whatever like type guy. No, dude, Derevyanchenko is going to be a tough fight for anybody, and especially Canelo. You know, here's the problem with that fight for Canelo. Canelo's not super active. Okay, so if he might run into a situation where a judge is seeing, hey, Derevyanchenko's landing all these punches to the body, some to the head. Yeah, Canelo's landed the bigger punches, but who did more to win the round? And they're like, I think Sergey did, because look at all the work he's doing. That's a plausible scenario that could happen in that fight. So don't count out Derevyanchenko. I'm not saying he's going to win. He could end up getting knocked out, I think, in that fight by a body shot or an uppercut. But he's not a whatever fight for Canelo. It's an extremely difficult fight for Canelo, and just as much as a Billy Joe Saunders fight would be an extremely difficult fight for Canelo. Let me know, you guys, which one's a harder fight you think for Canelo? Do you think it'll be Derevchenko, or do you think it'll be Billy Joe Saunders? I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to go and type in who do you guys think while I tweet out again that we're live. Send out this link here. I'm already seeing, yes, Little Teen Savage. We are live, bro. What's up? Little Teen Savage. What's a harder fight, Derevchenko or Billy Joe Saunders for Canelo? Let me know, bros. Let me know. Let's see here. I got BJ, got Derevchenko. DJ 2020 thinks they're both weak. What, bro? What do you mean they're both weak? Who do you want to see him fight, dude? Saunders? Saunders is dope. He's a good-ass fighter. King Raul. Canelo beats everyone in the middleweight division, and his hardest fight will be Billy Joe Saunders because he's slick and he has movement. Boom. I agree. That's a difficult fight for him at 160. I'm starting to see Saunders take over this now. Okay, so May fights. Why are they May fight? All right, everybody. DJ 2020 thinks that both Canelo versus Saunders and Canelo versus Derevchenko are May fights. All right, DJ 2020, this is your chance, bro, to give us your reasoning as to why they're both May fights, because you got two guys stylistically that could give them a lot of trouble. So why are they May to you? Because Saunders, out of both of them, has the highest chance of beating him, because Canelo's always had trouble with guys like that. Always had trouble with guys like that. Charlo. I'd love to see Canelo versus Charlo. Love to see that fight. DJ 2020, what up, bro? Where's your answer? Benavidez. He wants Benavidez and Charlo. Okay. I feel you. I agree. Remember that's at 168 though. You know, we don't know if Canelo is completely done with middleweight with 160 pounds, even though I would think that with him fighting Kovalev and going up to that weight, it might be a little bit more difficult to go down to that weight. Andrade beats Saunders, but Canelo beats anybody at 160. Hurricane Hank, what's up, man? Glad to see you back on here. Just my 2 cents. Canelo moves his trunk well, but he's a pretty flat-footed counterpuncher. BJ Saunders can outbox him and make him work when he doesn't want to. Charlo's competition has been weak. Canelo versus Charlo belongs in Texas. Is Canelo overrated? No freaking way. Get out of here with that. Canelo is nowhere being overrated. Why do you feel that way? No, dude. You know how many Hall of Famers Canelo has already on his resume? Dude, the guy went up to 175 pounds. Yeah, I know. Kovalev was still didn't have enough time to recover. But Kovalev still beat an undefeated fighter in that last fight. Kovalev was still a dangerous guy. He wasn't the best light heavyweight. You know, that was better BF. But still, you know, Kovalev was, on paper at least, was a live dog. You know, Canelo has the best resume after Manny Pacquiao current in boxing. Okay. Bar none, Manny Pacquiao right now has the best resume of any fighter in boxing current right now. Second to that is Canelo Alvarez, just because of the competition that he's had and the people that he's had on there. Brian got jokes. Donatella, hey, what's up? Good to see you over here. Where are you joining us from, Donatella? Kovalev was an impressive win for sure. It was, but it does diminish the win a little bit, given that he did not allow Kovalev to get proper rest. And even Kovalev admitted after that he felt there's no way he could win the fight because he literally had, 3-4 weeks off and then back in the training camp. And that Yardy fight that Kovalev had was a freaking grinder. That was a hard fight. Hard fight for Kovalev. On paper, Kovalev should have won that fight, honestly. On paper. Bigger guy, longer reach, bigger guy, harder punch, better jab. But that goes to show you, though, too, that Kovalev is also reaching that age where he's not the same as he was anymore. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you could not spar, but it's really sad what happened to Yardy with his family. To be honest, he had two family members pass away due to COVID-19. So it's super unfortunate. He's going through some hard times right now. So yeah, I nothing but positive energy and positive vibes for Yardy because that's very unfortunate to what happened. All right, so Canelo versus Charlo. I've seen a lot of Canelo is ducking Charlo on this, or maybe it might be just from Brian here, but okay. The whole Canelo's ducking thing. Come on, you guys. Canelo's not ducking anybody, okay? This dude, look how many fights Canelo already has on his record, okay? Look at all the guys he's already fought. Lara, Trout, Mayweather, Mosley, Cotto, Golovkin twice. If there was anybody to duck, okay? Anybody to duck, to have an excuse not to fight, that guy would be Golovkin. Canelo fought him twice, okay? Would Charlo beat Golovkin? Who knows? It's a tough fight. Super competitive. Charlo could win that fight. Golovkin could win that fight. But for people or fans to say Canelo's ducking, Canelo ain't ducking anybody, guys. Come on, dude. This guy was fighting grown men at like 15. He's not ducking anybody. A guy that has that many fights in his pro career is not ducking anybody. What he is doing is making sure he gets paid for the fights that he has. So that has a lot to do with it. But now that he's getting $30 million per fight, we should be seeing him fight Saunders and Andrade and Golovkin again because all those guys are with DAZN, with Eddie Hearn. But someone at that point who's going to be a Hall of Famer that has that many fights already, that many Hall of Famers, that many former world champions already on the resume, Canelo ain't scared to fight anybody, man. Canelo would fight a heavyweight, honestly. He's not scared to fight anybody. And Charlo is a great fight. And I hope one day we're able to see it. But it's the other thing, back to what I was saying about with the whole promoter thing. Everyone's avoided Andrade. That I do believe. Believe that Andrade has been avoided. People don't want to fight him, but let me see if I could put this in a business sense for you guys. Okay, say you're Joe Schmo fighter, okay? Joe Schmo fighter, you're a world champion, and you're making a certain amount. Say you're making $3 million per fight, okay? And Andrade has another one of the belts. And that's a difficult fight. That fight could end up being a really boring, just ugly, atrocious fight given his style. People aren't going to be happy. You could end up losing, and even if you win, you could end up losing because people are going to be like, man, this guy sucks. I don't want to see him fight. He gave me a boring fight in this fight. So you look at, okay, I can make $3 million a fight, someone like Andrade, or I can get 2 fights in and make the same amount, or it adds up to the same amount to fight guys that are of lesser quality and competition, to not risk it. Only risk that fight if it's for a big-time pay-per-view type fight. Renee Box Young, what up? That's how it works, man. That's how it is. That's how these guys think, Can't blame them, but that's how it is. I'm just surprised that Hearn hasn't been able to get Andrade these fights because they're all on the same thing. So it's just like, damn, if it's even hard for them to get them fights with fighters on DAZN, look how much more difficult it's going to be to make fights with other guys that aren't with DAZN. I agree, though. Give Boo Boo a big fight. I agree. Grim Reaper likes Andrade. Arm thinks his style is sloppy. Some Solution What's up, bro? La Piel. We talked about Ryan earlier in the chat, bro. I think from the start till about 15 minutes in. I think it's a weird situation, like I mentioned. I don't know why Oscar went to Twitter and put everything out like that. I think it's really, really strange because it's nothing good is going to come out of that. Ryan's going to get all mad, and it's just you want to make your fighter happy, man. You don't want any disharmonious type of situation when you're dealing with your fighters. All right, guys. Did I just have a freaking aneurysm right there? Couldn't even talk. All right, more questions, you guys. Come on in. I wish there was more boxers that respected the belts. I wish there was just one belt, to be honest. All these sanctioning bodies, man, there's too many of them. It makes it just difficult. You know, you got champion on champion on champion. I've always had a problem with the sanctioning bodies. There's just too many. I wish a multi-billionaire would come in and just buy out all the sanctioning bodies. Or the U.S. government, I don't know if they can, but check this. What if the U.S. government came in and said, we are establishing the United States National Boxing Commission? What is that? The USNBC. And this United States National Boxing Commission is not going to recognize any of the sanctioning bodies. We're creating our own sanctioning body. And if you want to fight in the U.S., you will be licensed under the U.S. National Boxing Commission. You will be ranked. This is a government organization that's oversighted, that's connected in 4 regions, and any professional boxer that fights just like the NFL is overseen by a national commission. Every other sports organization is seen under a national commission. We rank based on the writers. They put the rankings. That's the seeding. 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4. Whoever's won, the National Boxing Commission rates that fighter. That's just me talking out of my ass. That could be a way to solve it, but I don't know why there's not a National Boxing Commission. Seems like UFC fighters are not happy with their pay. Yeah, a lot of them aren't, but even Dana White's brought it up, man. We're in a pandemic, bro. Everybody's bag is all messed up, dude. No one's making as much money as they were before, man. That's in all industries. This pandemic's messed up everybody's bread. Unless you're a manufacturer of PPE or medical supplies. Going back, I wanted to bring up, agreed, yeah, 4 titles, way too much, man. Way too much. I read this book on Johnny Tapia the other day. And, okay, let me see if I can get the number, not the number, but the name of the book. It's not the Mi Vida Loca book. Hamilcar nor Johnny Tapia. I thought the book was a really, really good book. It's called The Ghost of Johnny Tapia. I'm going to drop a link here so you guys check it out. Here we go. This book's pretty funny. Johnny Tapia was freaking nuts, man. His wife says a story in the book that they met and they got married 2 weeks later. And on their wedding day, Tapia got high off of heroin or something like that, ended up going to the hospital. They pronounced him dead. And then she comes because the hospital calls the mom to tell Tapia's wife that he's pronounced dead. They go to the hospital and then they see Johnny Tapia running through the hospital. There's a lot of stories of that about Johnny Tapia. I'm just reading these comments in that book. There's another one by like Sammy Hagar. I guess Johnny Tapia was friends with Sammy Hagar from Van Halen. And not Don Rickles, another comedian, but that book is really, really funny, man. Marvin, what do you make of the Maurice Hooker versus Regis Prograis situation? That had to do because of the weight, right? That's what I was seeing on the tweets is Hooker couldn't go down in weight, right? Because I haven't fully read up on it yet. But that fight was already, yeah, Donatello, check it out. Yeah, Tapia was a crazy dude, and it's just unfortunate that his demons got the better of him because Angel. Okay, now this is where I'm going ADD like crazy. I thought Angel was going to hit me during that interview. Back to Johnny Tapia. It's unfortunate because Johnny Tapia was actually a really, really good fighter when he had his shit on point. And the book just goes through like a lot of his crazy drug binges where he was pronounced dead a lot of times, but Johnny had like a really, really messed up upbringing. His mom got murdered. A lot of the people that he loved and cared about died. It seemed like death always surrounded Johnny. Yeah, that's true, Rich. That is very true. So the book kind of gives a condensed version of his career, but it more focuses on a lot of the crazy shit that he did. But one thing that stuck out to me was that his wife said that his wife was Johnny's manager, Tapia's manager, Miss Tapia. And she negotiated the purses for Johnny Tapia. And they were making 7-figure purses when Johnny was a world champion. And when he was, I don't know if this was when he was with Top Rank or with another promoter. But she said a story after he had a fight in Atlantic City that he would pull out money like $500 and just start walking around and give it to homeless people. And I never knew that about Tapia. And his wife would say that Johnny would always try to help out the homeless where they were at, wherever they were at, by either giving them food or giving them money. And in this particular situation in Atlantic City, Johnny gave a homeless guy $100. And the homeless guy ended up getting jumped by a group of people trying to take away his money. And Johnny went over there and knocked everybody out that was trying to take advantage of the homeless guy. So, Johnny was just his demons got the better of him, which is really, really unfortunate, to be honest, because he's a talented fighter, man. He's a fan favorite fighter too, as well. Had a lot of good energy overall with him, and a lot of great fights too. His fights with, I want to watch. I haven't seen this fight that he had with Marco Antonio Barrera. And his fights with Paulie Ayala, really, really good as well, and Roman. Just my 2 cents. I find this comment very interesting from you. Seems like it's all about the sanctioning body's egos. Each one thinks their belt is the best and should get the best sanctioning fee TV deal. Just a dick swinging contents, just swinging it around, driving to the knees, So, the only reason why the sanctioning bodies are in business is because the sanctioning fees. The sanctioning fees were to disappear, the sanctioning bodies would disappear because they wouldn't have any money to operate. But at the end of the day, belts do matter, because you go to a network or even if you're a fighter and you say you're a world champion by one of the 4 major sanctioning bodies, that has weight. They can now title that fight a world championship title fight, and it matters. People will tune in because that person's a world champion. That's the problem, though. Like, no one knows to solve it. I think the only way to solve the whole sanctioning body problem is like how I mentioned earlier. Multi-billionaire has to come in and buy them all out. Or the U.S. has to say, we're making a national commission and we're not recognizing these belts. We're making our own thing. If you're a licensed fighter in the United States, you have to register through our commission. Just a thought, because I've given it some thought. But yeah, it's the oldest sanctioning body organization is the WBA. Then it was the WBC that split off from the WBA. And then I believe it was the IBF. They've always just split off. And yeah, you are right. It's always been a thing of money. So that's my only solution, I think, is that, someone comes in, buys everybody, and then creates one. And then there, boom, we finally have a thing. Or the National Commission creates its own belt, and then we'll see where that goes. But that's adding another belt. If a fighter's a WBC champion and this new National Commission comes in, says they're not recognizing anything, You think that WBC champion's going to want to be de-recognized of his accomplishment and his achievement? No, they're not. So that's another tricky thing as well with that. And then, PBC, I think, wanted to make PBC belts as well once a fighter became undisputed. And, I don't know if I really like that idea, to be honest. That's another belt you're adding to it, And they don't really recognize the WBO because they don't think the WBO is one of the main ones. They said that the last time there was an undisputed champion, it was the main three: the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. So, it really is a mess. And I think the only solution is what I said. Multi-billionaire has to come in and just buy them all out and just make one. Go watch what on YouTube, Andres? Floyd or Castillo, who do you think really won the fight? Castillo won that first fight. Floyd won the second one for sure. Just so many moving parts in boxing. There is. And I didn't even know there were sanctioning fees up until like maybe 2 years into this when I found out that there was a sanctioning fee for that. And like, where do these sanctioning fees go? That's what I want to know. They're not transparent with where these sanctioning fees. I think the most transparent out of all of them is the WBC, because I've been to their convention and they've broken it down where the sanctioning fees go. It goes to foundations, it goes to help people, it goes to stipends for retired fighters that can't pay their bills. They distribute it, but all these other organizations, the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, no idea where that money from the sanctioning fees is coming from. They're not transparent at all. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're pocketing it. I'm not saying they're pocketing it, but it would not surprise me because there's no transparent whatsoever. Who do they report to? That's another question. A lot of these organizations are overseas organizations, so there's no laws for them to be able to report. Where is this money being dispersed from? Who knows? Who knows? Money goes to making the fan. Okay, DJ, you know what? I think I should make a video on this. The belts, I think, I remember I saw in a YouTube video one time in an Instagram post. I think the belts are somewhere between $20,000 to $50,000 to make. I could be totally wrong. Don't quote me on this. But from what I saw on a YouTube video, that's how much it is. It's funny because the sanctioning fee is like 1 or 2%. So of the purse. So if the purse is like $100 million fight, that's a big ass sanctioning fee. That's why Cotto dropped his belt when he fought Canelo, because his sanctioning fee, I think, was making $10 million, and his sanctioning fee was like $1 million. And I remember I asked him during his public workout, I'm like, why'd you drop the belt? He dropped the WBC belt, and he said, I'm not happy with the WBC sanctioning fee. They didn't want to lower it. I tried to see if they can, and they didn't want to. I'm like, well, how much was the sanctioning fee? Cotto told me $1 million. I'm like, I'm at the end of my career. I don't have a lot of fights yet. $1 million is $1 million regardless. $1 million goes a long way, especially in Puerto Rico. And I think the $1 million, instead of going to the WBC, should go to my family. And totally agree with them, man. And that's why he dropped the belt for the Canelo fight, where if he would have won, he wouldn't have been the WBC middleweight champion. So, these sanctioning fees get really, really pricey. And I know a major criticism from the sanctioning bodies has been the sanctioning fees. But how would they operate without sanctioning fee? That's the thing. Boxing's so messed up, guys. It's a really it's a wacky business with a lot of funny characters, a lot of great people, but there's a lot of things where you're just kind of scratch your head and be like, wait a second, how did that guy get this job? Why do they do this? Who reports that money? There's no transparency. So Hurricane Hank, more of a stun. Marcos Levy. I thought Castillo won the first fight. That's majority of people think that he won the first fight. Rich Rivers, what up, bro? Where are you from, bro? Cotto was unique as a boxer, yeah, with the clogs and all that. You know, Cotto cracked me up. He's a funny guy. His little Frenchies. Teofimo or Lomachenko, I think at this point. But you know, Teofimo's on the come up, man. He's on the come up. He did have an enjoyable style, Rich, and it's just too bad what happened with the Margarito situation, you know, because I think Cotto couldn't take damage the same after that Margarito fight. And I think maybe Cotto's confidence in himself got taken away, or at least severely damaged, where he didn't have that same belief like he did before. You know, Cotto before that Margarito fight had no respect for you, dude. No respect for you as an opponent. He'd come in there and just beat the crap out of you, just disregarded you, thought you were just a big piece of garbage, just went through it and just wanted to ragdoll you and just club you to death, you know? After the Margarito fight, it was different. I don't want to say he was worried about getting hit, but he couldn't take the punches the same way as before. And you could totally tell, too, that just the way he would react to punches, the way he carried himself in the ring was completely different. Yeah, I hear from people that, you know, he didn't have the loaded hand wraps. I think Doug Fisher from Ring says that he didn't have loaded hand wraps, that when they did the commission thing, they found that they didn't have plaster in there. But, you know, the only one that knows is him and his trainer, to be honest. It's the only people that know. Brian FM 860, do you miss Mayorga? Yeah, I do miss Mayorga. I did an interview with Mayorga when he was going to fight an MMA fight for Shine MMA against Din Thomas. And they had a press conference in LA somewhere. And it was crazy because at the press conference, I don't think this was the LA press. He had like a media day. The kickoff press conference with Mayorga, he hit Din Thomas, and it looked like it knocked him out. And I thought, damn, he barely touched you, bro. Like, how are you already like knocked out? You got like no chin. Like, what the hell? And then I saw him at the media day, and he worked out. And then before he did the interview with me, he lit up a cigarette. And I was like, what the fuck? What are you doing, bro? And you know, obviously he did that after his fights. But I thought it was an act. And no, he legit had his cigarette. He's taking mean old puffs, you know? And then he did the interview with me, and then he took a puff, and then we finished the interview, and I was just like, dude, this guy's fucking nuts. This guy is crazy, man. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Hurricane Hank. He's a character, man. And that's the one thing that I'm super grateful about being in the Grim Reaper. That was fake. That you could tell that was fake when he slapped her ass. But the thing about that I remember with Mayorga and just boxing in general, man, you meet so many funny freaking characters. If not the fighters, they always have some weird, crazy character on their team. That's just, they're very memorable people, you know, like everywhere from like Sam Watson, who Sam cracks me up, dude. It's just his energy. Oh, man. So Floyd Mayweather was having a charity game, okay? This was in winter. This was back maybe 5-6 years ago, okay? And Floyd was having a charity game, and I remember I went there to try to get a one-on-one interview with Floyd, and I ended up getting a one-on-one interview with Floyd. And I remember I told my camera guy, bring the big camera. Floyd likes the big cameras. If Floyd sees me with the big camera, he'll think, oh, this guy's legit. He has a professional camera. I have to talk to him. And it worked. Floyd saw the big camera as opposed to everybody's small little handheld cameras, and he went to me right away. I got a one-on-one. This was the first interview that he did after his jail stint, after he got out of jail. So I asked him, you know, every single thing that you could ask him about him being in jail. So like, you know, hey, how was it being in jail? What did you do? What was your routine in jail? Did you get to work out in jail? Did you answer any of the fan mail? People in jail? Side note, I actually wrote Floyd a letter to him while he was in jail. And I don't know if you guys could send this to him or anything. I've never told Floyd in person during interviews or anything, or anybody on his team, that I wrote him a letter in jail just to see how he was, but also thanking him because Floyd actually gave me like one of my first big breaks. I got an exclusive with him during his Mayweather-Mosley press conference. He gave me a one-on-one for like 7 minutes. And at the end, he told everybody, hey, support this guy. He's young and up and coming. Because at first, Floyd told me no to the interview. He said, no, who are you with? And I told him the outlet that I was with. I lied. And he's like, I never heard of that magazine. I'm not going to do the interview. And I'm like, Floyd, please, man, I'm up and coming. I'm trying to make a name for myself. And Floyd looked at me and said, you're up and coming? I'm like, yes. He's like, all right, I'm going to help you out. Come on, let's go. Let's do the interview. And I did the interview with Floyd. And I used that interview. I emailed all the promoters. Emailed Golden Boy, Monica at Golden Boy. I emailed Top Rank, Lee at Top Rank. I emailed Goose and Tudor at the time. I emailed all the promoters, all the PR people. And I told them, look at this exclusive that I got with Floyd. It's a good interview. I'm legit. I do good work. Let me into these events, please. If I could do this interview with Floyd, I could interview your boxers. And because of that interview, they started letting me in. So back to the jail interview and how funny of a character Sam is. So Floyd's getting annoyed during this whole time we're about to do the interview because there's noise going off. Like the basketball game is about to start, this charity basketball game that the Watsons host. Music's going on. Doors keep opening and closing, opening and closing. And I could tell Floyd is annoyed. Like doing this work, you pick up on people's energies and you pick up on people's body language. He was being really fidgety. And I could tell that I wasn't going to have his attention for very long unless something happened. So Floyd actually told Sam, hey, Sam, close that freaking door. How am I supposed to do, and he's cursing, how am I supposed to do effing interviews? You got all this effing noise going on. And Sam's like, okay. This is why Sam's hilarious. So Sam goes, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So Sam goes, and we're like in the alley. You know when you enter like a high school gym and you enter and it's like you see like the trophy cases and it's like the concourse of the high school gym, and then you pass through the doors and you're in like the basketball courts. So this is where we were. We're like in the concourse of this gym that's like in the valley somewhere. I forget where it was. Like it wasn't Sherman Oaks, but somewhere in the like Van Nuys or something like that. So Floyd goes, Sam, close those doors. He goes, okay. Sam goes and he tells these random guys and he goes, yo. And I'm not going to say the word, but he says, yo. Expletive, yo, F expletive, N expletive. Close those goddamn doors, N expletive. And I heard him through like the side of my nose, and I'm like, I have the thing, I'm about to interview Floyd. I hear him say that, and I'm like laughing because the way Sam Watson says things is freaking hilarious. He has a delivery that makes you laugh. Just the way he talks. His timing with his speech is so freaking funny. Sam could have been a comedian. It's just the way he says things like always crack me up. So he goes and he says that, and I get the interview with Floyd, okay? And it just goes to show you how many unique characters there is in boxing. Sam is a unique character. His son's walking out with all the fighters for the times that they did. Floyd and Leonard. Leonard's a character too, man. I love talking to Leonard. Dan Goosen. Joe Goosen's a freaking character, man. That guy has stories for days. There's so many characters in this business, and that's the one thing that I love about working in this business is there's always laughs because these guys just crack you the hell up, man, because they're in no other professional sport, honestly, in no other professional sport could these guys get a job, but boxing, because they just wouldn't fit in that world. That world is too corporate for them. Boxing's like the Wild West still. You know, you can get a guy off the street, get him a job, and he's like a mean old power broker in boxing with the span of like 6-7 years. You know, that's akin to what they say. Boxing is a poor man's sport. These boxers, they bring up the people that have been around them since day one. I'm successful, I bring you up. They bring them up too, and that's why we get so many of these freaking characters. This is going to be the last question, guys. I've been rambling off for like an hour and 15 minutes. Thank you guys for going ahead and tuning in. Still going to talk with this. I'm taking one last question. I want to give a thanks to where'd it go? Where'd that question go? Andres Ramirez, I love Fight Hub. Thank you so much. Andres Ramirez, because you said that, go on our Fight Hub Instagram account. Okay, Andres? Send us a DM. I'm going to send you a shirt. All right? I'm going to send you a shirt, a Fight Hub shirt. Okay. Someone asked me what is the best fight that I ever went to. And I say this a lot in the live chats. I get asked this a lot, but it's always a cool story to say, because it's had such a big impact as to a lot of things, honestly. Mainly as to how brutal this sport is, and how these fighters really leave a piece of themselves in the ring. And it really drove it home as to where these guys are entitled to ask for more money for every single one of their fights, because they literally can end up being brain damaged or really, really hurt in their fights. The best fight I ever saw in person was Ruslan Provodnikov versus Tim Bradley at the Home Depot Center in Carson, California. Brutal, brutal fight. I was there, press side, front row. I thought the fight was going to get waved off. I remember I kept thinking to myself, how the hell is Tim Bradley still standing? Like, at any moment, this guy's going to get knocked out. At any moment, he's going to go. Like, what is Hoya doing? Like, why isn't he throwing the towel? Tim gets his wits about him. Does pretty well for a majority of the fight after he got stunned during, I think, like the first, second rounds in that fight against Ruslan Provodnikov. And then he gets hurt again, I think, during the end of the round, end of the fight. Fight's over. We all go to the back. If you ever been to the back of the Home Depot Center, they have like a little ramp. They have like these weird little plastic things that look like you know where you have like your back screen doors, they have blinds. They're like little plastic blinds that you walk through. So you walk up the ramp, go through the little plastic blinds, and you look to your left, and there's an entrance to the locker rooms. And they have guardrails there set up for us to be there and talk to the guys. We're there waiting. Lee Samuels, who was Top Rank's PR guy, is there. And Brian, I want to get a haircut. And, you know, we're asking Lee, like, hey, is Tim going to come out? Or are we going to get an interview? He's like, I don't know. You know, the commission's looking at him. He had a brutal fight, guys. You know, like, I'm just telling you, like, don't be surprised if he doesn't talk. I'll see. But, you know, he had a really brutal fight. I see Lee, and it doesn't look good. I could just tell by his composure that it doesn't look good. He comes back out and he tells us, Tim's not going to do any interviews. We're going to take him straight to the hospital. He's going to come out right now. Do not ask him any questions because he's not going to answer. And we're like, fuck, like, really? Like, come on, you know? It's a good thing he didn't. Tim walks out. He has a sweater on, hood on. It's closed up. It's Tim, his brother-in-law, his wife. They're walking out. Ambulance pulls up. They open it. They take out the gurney. Tim with the hoodie, he's like this. He's shaking. Jaw's shaking. His teeth are clattering like crazy. I looked at Tim and I was like, oh my God, this fight really messed him up. I've never seen a fighter look that bad after a fight ever. What up, Yair? telling this Bradley Provodnikov story, and that's what really drove that saying where fighters say they leave a piece of themselves in the ring after every fight. Looked at Tim and said, "Man, this guy got messed up. He's in bad shape." They load Tim up in the gurney. Still shaking. He's shaking. Tim was shaking. He couldn't control his mouth. His jaw was clattering. They pull him up in the gurney, and I just look at Tim. His eyes are all swollen too. And I'm just like, I'm never going to let my kids box, ever. Ever. I don't ever want to see my kid go through that, ever. Imagine, being Tim's spouse, the family having to watch that, your partner, your friend go through that, not be sure if they're okay. And then if you further dig into the story, Tim had a concussion. He had to go to a concussion doctor to get everything fixed up. Hoya told me that because of that fight, Tim almost retired, that he wasn't looking good in sparring, that he got hurt in sparring when he was preparing for Juan Manuel Marquez, that Tim begged him, no, I'm going to, I'm good. And he ended up being good, boxed the pants off of Marquez, which I to this day, I think that's Tim Bradley's finest performance, is that win against Marquez. But that's why I always say fighters are entitled to as much money as they possibly can. And we've seen it time and time again, these fighters in situations like that end up leaving a piece of themselves where they're not the same anymore. And seeing Tim like that really, really drove it home. And I'm glad Tim's okay now. He's fine now, but it was because he took precaution. He went to the concussion doctor and made sure. But I never forget seeing Tim like that. And I remember seeing Ruslan after in the lobby of the Home Depot Center. And Ruslan looked like an alien, dude. He looked like Andre Berto when Berto fought Robert Guerrero. Eyes all puffed up, swollen. Couldn't even recognize the guy. I didn't even know it was him, to be honest. I looked at him, looked over, and I'm like, oh, shit, that's Ruslan. What in the heck? It's a brutal sport, man. It's a brutal sport. These guys are different. They're different than all of us, For them, it's not normal for you to want to fight a person. Yeah. I'm going to leave it on that, man. That was the best fight that I've ever had, and that's why I wouldn't want to put my kids in boxing, to be honest. It's a hard freaking sport. It's a hard way to make – it's the hardest way to make a living, to be honest. It's extremely difficult. It's lonely. You have to sacrifice so much. Yeah, Hurricane Hank, he looked like the monster from – yeah, he did. He did. It's just a difficult way, and I think that's why the fighters get so touchy, so emotional, so angry when fans call them bums. I stopped calling fighters bums a long time ago because I felt that was really disrespectful. I'll say they're not that good, but I won't call them a bum. Because, the stuff that they have to go through is just the way, a lot of the times they're not making a lot of money, man. It's sacrificing so much time away from their family, time away from their kids, working out 3 times a day, in camp, isolation for 8 weeks, dealing with negative thoughts if they're training hard enough, if they have what it takes to beat this guy, if they're doing enough. All that plays in your mind, man. Messes with your psyche. On top of that, the weight cutting, which is the worst. If you don't have good nutrition, you haven't been dedicated, cutting 10, 15 pounds the week of the fight. I've had to cut 10, 15 pounds for wrestling. It's terrible. It sucks. It's a hard way to make. It's a hard way to make a living, guys. It's a hard way to make a living, and that's why I say they're entitled to every cent and more because of that. All right, guys, this is the end of the live chat. Dang, an hour and 20 minutes. So I was able to ramble with you guys, but thank you so much. We'll be back next Monday at 8:30. Top Rank has a fight tomorrow on ESPN and on Thursday as well on ESPN. Boxing is back. The matches that happened last Thursday were actually pretty damn good. So I'm hoping for more competitive matches. Guys, make sure to follow us on social media at Fight Up TV. Give me a follow as well at Hey, it's Marcos V. We have an exclusive with Derek James that's on the channel right now. That was done by Yair. Thank you so much. Make sure to go ahead and watch that and have a great rest of your Monday. Make sure to watch the Tyson video that we did. I'm going to put the links on here so you guys can watch the videos. The Tyson video that we did and the everything you need to know about Joshua and Fury. Everything you need to know about the fight at this point. Mike Tyson, everything you need to know. All right. Leave this link here. It's actually really, really, really good video for you.
All right, everybody.
Oh, look, that's me. Here, I'm going to drop the link for you guys to watch. Boom. Here we go. Get you that shirt. King Raul, send us a DM on Instagram. Watch that, you guys, and the Derek James one. I'm going to drop the link for you guys to watch. For you guys that are still here, for some videos you watch. 15-minute interview with Derek James. Pretty good, actually. It says that he doesn't feel that Errol needs a tune-up fight in his return and that they don't care about the opponent that they have. Boom. Here's the link for you guys to check out. Bump. There you go. All right, you guys. Follow us on social media at Fight Up TV, at Hey, it's Marcos V, Boxing Babes. All right, next week we'll do another edition of Boxing Babes, okay? All right, guys, take it easy. Positive vibes, positive thoughts. Be productive. If you're feeling down, go outside, exercise for a little bit. Changes your whole energy and outlook completely. All right, you guys, peace out. Thanks for watching.